Let's look now at access control and permissions. And we're looking for vulnerabilities where there is an improper permission configuration. And some red flags to show us that that could be the case. Maybe that there are default permissions that haven't been changed, but they should be. Or maybe permissions haven't been set up at all. There is missing setup, or maybe there will be upgradable keys. We're looking to do upgradability, but there isn't the governance behind that. And the question to bear in mind with this is who can modify components that are critical to the way that the contract will behave. So let's look at this in a little more detail. So we're going to be checking the permission configuration to see if it is possible to have, for example, unauthorized access or privilege escalation. So this is the case where somebody has limited permissions, limited access, but they are able by themselves to then increase their access, increase the privilege, and change their permissions to get greater privilege. Some patterns to look out for are if there are default permissions that have been left unchanged. We can look at the critical operations within our code and make sure that we have the proper permission checks for all of those. And then maybe the access we have is overly permissive. A good practice is the one of least access. Start from the most restrictive permissions and only grant more access as is needed. A further pattern to look for is if there is initialization of permissions that is either been missed out or is not being done correctly. And I've got some example code for you there. So we've got a deploy method, but then we don't have anything within the permissions in that method to make sure that they've been set up correctly. Now, if you're unsure whether the code is vulnerable or not, we can do some testing. And what you could try to do is to attempt to call functions that you expect to be restricted, but without using the proper authorization, and see if that still works. You could try to execute some updates that should be impossible, and also check if the permissions is none is used in the token contracts, which may be bypassing token rules. And also, if you're unsure, you can look at documentation, check the documentation to see if what we have it lines up with the security model that we are expecting.